People, and men in particular, have always had a knack for challenging professionals of a field to any kind of competition. We've seen such things multiple times, where a normal everyday man challenges a highly trained professional athlete with decades of experience, in a sport where the man himself is mediocre at best. These are the top 10 idiots who challenge professional fighters. But before we start, don't forget to punch the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Also, like and share the video with your friends, and don't forget to watch until number 1 because it will be a big surprise to most of you. Number 10. Tom Weiss vs Germaine de Randamie. In 2007, the Belgian actor Tom Weiss apparently was feeling very strong and ended up challenging the incredible Dutch martial artist and kickboxing champion Germaine de Randamie. Weiss received a 3 months crash course and training in this sport, and apparently was cocky before the fight. But as soon as the fight started, it was clearly apparent who the more skilled fighter was. Germaine de Randamie was landing clean shot after clean shot, whereas Weiss was just trying to use his size to try and overpower Germaine, which was all in vain. In the end, both of them connected with a right punch, where Weiss got knocked out and Germaine was declared the winner. Number 9. BUZZFEED content creator versus MMA fighter. A couple of years ago, a man named Arya who worked for BuzzFeed decided to train for 3 months in order to take part in a professional MMA fight. His opponent was a new MMA fighter with not much experience as well. As the fight starts, both the fighters started a very conservative approach, throwing some weak jabs and kicks but not really putting any force behind them. At the start, both the fighters seemed to be evenly matched, but as the round progressed, it was apparent that 3 months is not enough time to learn a combat sport as complex as MMA. Arya was trying to land some punches when his opponent got hold of his head and put Arya in a guillotine chokehold, knocking Arya completely out. Number 8. Fake professional from Russia versus an amateur MMA fighter. This giant man walked into an MMA gym and claimed to be a professional Muay Thai fighter and a professional boxer. He demanded that anyone from the gym may challenge him, and surprisingly, this young MMA fighter called his bluff and accepted the challenge. It was supposed to be a sparring match, but the giant man from Russia started throwing punches with all his power within him. Almost all of the punches missed the mark and were incredibly inaccurate, but they had the power behind them which should not be used in a normal sparring match. The smaller guy though wasn't fazed in the slightest by it. Instead, he stood up to the challenge and matched the intensity of the punches thrown by the larger guy. After only 50 seconds, the fake professional was already out of breath, and after a couple more body shots, the sparring match was ended with the smaller guy being the victor. Number 7. YouTubers versus professional MMA fighter. A couple of years ago, 4 YouTubers decided to challenge a professional female MMA fighter to a sparring match. In this case, the fighter was Miesha Tate, the incredibly talented former UFC champion. Tate offered them 2 minutes each to see how many times she can make them tap out within the time limit. It's safe to say that it was more than anyone could have expected. Tate was literally ragdolling the men all around the cage, lifting them up and putting them in a wide array of chokeholds. Even the biggest person there wasn't able to do anything against this incredible fighter, which proved 100% that even the women, who are supposed to have 40% lower upper body strength, can defeat any man if she's trained in a combat sport. And these YouTubers learned it the hard way. Number 6. KUNGFU Master versus MMA fighter. A KUNGFU Master named Kai Tran challenged a smaller and younger pro MMA fighter by the name of Nan Fan. The Kung Fu fighter was the bigger person and was definitely trying his very best to leverage his strength and to push around and overpower the smaller MMA fighter by sheer strength. But strength is not always the best thing to use in a pro fight. The Kung Fu fighter seemed to be a little cocky and maybe just inexperienced, as he, even after taking several jabs to the face, refused to cover his chin. He kept taking jab after jab and some hard punches straight to the face again and again. He might have thought that the smaller fighter didn't have enough punching power to actually hurt him, but he was proven wrong, as after a couple of jabs, the smaller fighter landed a strong right hook which knocked the Kung Fu Master out. Number 5. Comedian versus professional fighter. On a Japanese game show, a comedian challenged a pro MMA fighter to a match. The match started and it was instantly apparent that the MMA fighter had more strength and skill compared to the comedian, but in all honesty, the comedian wasn't half bad. He was able to block most of the kicks and punches which any normal human would not have been able to block, and probably would have been knocked out cold after the impact. It was very clear that the comedian must have had some kind of training before the bout, as the way he was moving and throwing punches and kicks were not that of a complete beginner. He even took down the MMA fighter with a beautiful move, but the MMA fighter had more strength and experience and was able to get free. After a couple more minutes, the MMA fighter was able to land a strong kick to the body of the comedian, and that was pretty much the end of the match, as the comedian wasn't able to get back up from that kick. Number 4. Fox News anchor versus professional MMA fighter. This funny incident happened on live TV, where a Fox News anchor challenged the legendary American mixed martial artist and UFC champion BJ Penn. Penn was able to take down the anchor with extreme ease and pinned him down, while the anchor was trying his very best with all the strength he could muster to get free, but of course was unable to do so because of the superior strength and technique of Penn. At last, the anchor gave up when Penn put him in an arm lock, and that's where it ended. Number 3. Tough guy versus professional fighter. This story comes from the United States, where a big, tough guy walked into the gym of the professional fighter Robson Mora and demanded a sparring match and a bet of $20 that he'll win. Mora of course accepted the fight and told the big guy that he'll beat him in 5 minutes, and if he's able to do it, the big guy would have to sign up as a new student. The vain big guy accepted the challenge. Mora choked him out in 10 seconds and put him in 3 different locks in like 30 seconds, while the big guy was out of his breath almost as soon as the match started. Number 2 is Charlie ZELENOFF versus Andrew Hartley. Charlie ZELENOFF is a self-proclaimed world's best boxer, who's known for his stupid antics of challenging people to fight and then trying to hit them with unexpectedly between the rounds after the bell. This time, he was fighting against the amateur boxer Andrew Hartley in a professional setting. Hartley had a massive reach disadvantage against ZELENOFF, but still held up his own, delivering good jabs and occasional hooks. Finally, ZELENOFF got knocked down and outside of the ring and admitted defeat. Number 1 is Normal Guy versus Taekwondo Master. This normal guy woke up one day and just waltzed straight into a dojo and demanded to fight with the Taekwondo Master. The Master accepted the challenge and entered the ring. This guy seemed totally clueless as to what a fighting stance was and was standing very awkwardly, whereas the Master was bobbing from one foot to another. The match ended as soon as it started, in just one kick straight to the face. The Master utterly humiliated and defeated the normal guy. It was absolutely hilarious to see how he got demolished, but at least he learned his lesson. And that's how we conclude our list. Out of all the clips, which one was your favourite? Let me know in the comments below and I'll handpick and feature your comment in the next video, so don't forget to comment. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you hit the like button to show your support. It was a pleasure to talk to you guys. Please like and share the video with your friends, and I'll see you next time.